Hey, Jeff Kelderman here, Kelderman Trucks. Today we got a 2023 Ram 3500. This is a limited Longhorn edition. This is the new 2023s have the new digital dash. You know, the interior in this thing's phenomenal. This is an awesome truck. It's cool. We got a little backstory on this truck. So, good friend of mine, Kelly Cravens, he's in Southern California. He's been running Kelderman stuff since the beginning. I think his first truck was 03 or 04 Dodge. He ran our 8 to 10 inch kit. And had it for years, and then with the new body style came out, he got a new 19 Ram, sent it up here, we built it, put this big 12-inch kit on it, 42-inch tires. Really cool truck. Well, he's in at the dealership getting it serviced a couple months ago, and a guy named Pete comes up to him, and he's like, "Man, I love your truck, man. Tell me about it." And Kelly's like, "Hey, it's my buddy Kelderman out in Iowa, man. He builds some of the baddest trucks on the planet." So these two get talking, and Kelly's like, "Well, here's Jeff's number." So about an hour later, Pete's driving his brand new dually home. He gives me a call and he's like, "Hey man, I saw this guy Kelly's truck and I want you to do the same thing to mine." So literally a week later, this truck's on its way back to Iowa, and this is the finished product. So this truck's running 40-inch Fury tires, 13.5 inches wide on 24-inch American Force tires. So as you can imagine, when you're sitting still and you go to turn this thing, it's putting tremendous pressure on the factory steering box, sector shaft, frame. So what we've done on this truck is we took the steering box off, sent it down to Dallas to PSC, and what they do is they'll take that box apart, they'll put a couple ports in it so we can add this hydraulic ram. So by adding the hydraulic ram to the steering, what that's going to do is it's going to take a majority of the flex off of the steering box and the frame, the sector shaft, because we're running along pitman arm. What that does is it kind of takes all that stress off. And the other thing it does is, when you put the steering wheel where you want it going down the highway with this hydraulic ram, it's going to drive straight as an arrow. Starting out with the front, we did our Delta Series bumper. We had Ron, our painter, color match it. It's got the metal flake in it. It matches perfectly up to the truck. Ron's a phenomenal painter. I mean, this thing's just a black mirror. It's really fortunate to have a world-class painter or facility. As you guys know, it's really hard to get guys that know how to paint really good. So we did our rigid Midnight Series, 20-inch in the center, 4-inch in the wings. We got our black monster hooks, and the state of California, you got to run that front license plate. Not that this truck's going to be easily noticed with the lift laws, but at least we won't be getting a ticket with that license plate on there. We did our Kelderman grill, so we did matte black on this cross piece, as well as matte black on the mesh. And then we did a gloss black blade with the chrome Kelderman logo. Also did a couple 4-inch rigid midnights right here in the center. Kind of goes with the flow of the front of the truck with the other rigid lights we have on this. So when you're driving a big truck like this, the first thing you think is that this thing's going to be all over the place, wiggle all over and roll, but it's really not that case. I mean, we've got these 10 to 12s handling pretty much like a 5 to 6, and it's all in the sway bars and the geometry of how we have the trailing arms. You come over here, we've got one of our 3D printed piece here where kind of where that pencil holder is, and we've got our two lights in the wings. We've got our center one. We got our horn to let everybody get the hell out of the way. We got our grill lights, and this is our rear light, for backing up to hook up to a trailer. So it's kind of taking some of that space that's really not used. Yeah, you can still put pencils and stuff behind there, but, I always know I don't use that much for throwing maybe a key up there. Get over these speed bumps. But, then up here we got our 3H mounted up here out of the way. It doesn't interfere with, what we used to do on the windshield. Biggest problem with putting them on the windshield, is we would have the, situation where you sat in the hot sun and kept falling off. So we came up, Tyler Engineer's really good at this kind of 3D printing stuff. So we've got a lot of little cool stuff that we've been adding. Make the interior cleaner, make the whole install, more functional and look better also. So the kit we have on this truck's our 10 to 12-inch kit. There's a lot more components to the 12-inch kit, when you lift your truck up compared to say a 6-inch kit. So we've got these massive upper bag mounts. We got weld-on plates that go to the frame that are drilled and tapped to hold this on. We got cross members going across, because the biggest thing when you get that higher center of gravity, you got a lot more roll, and which is why we run our large sway bars, so that this truck still handles, really well for a 12-inch lift. And honest truth, I put this 12-inch lift the way it is now, on a slalom course, and wouldn't be worried one bit. We're running our Kelderman shocks, and again, they're tuned to the airbag. So what you get is you get a smooth ride, and then you get, when you're cornering, the dampening, the way everything's set up, we got that sports car-like handling out of this big truck. So the back part of our suspension here where the 4-link bars mount is also the cross member. This kit comes with an indexing ring to clock the transfer case. That way we get the drive shaft angles more acceptable for such a large lift. We got our Kelderman badges here. This is a big heavy chunk of iron. It's a pretty well fabricated piece. So even though we're running a 12-inch lift on this truck, we're not going to decrease the carrying capacity on this thing. We use the same airbags on the back of this truck as we do like a Ford 450. The rear axle rating on this thing's 9750, so we're not going to put a lift on it and compromise, the towing capacity. With the air ride, we're going to keep this thing level. Peter's got a 20,000-pound boat he's going to pull behind this thing. So we're not going to set him up with something that he's going to put on his truck, and the back end's going to be dragging, and the headlights are shining, to the sky. So combine that large airbags, with our Raptor shocks and our large rear sway bar, we've got a truck on 40-inch tires that's lifted, but it's got a sports car-like handling, and it's still going to pull that monster boat. So in the rear here where the spare tire went is where we mount our airlift 3H controls. We got dual tanks on here running 175 PSI with our dual Viairs. We got a dryer on it to keep the moisture out. And then what's cool also is we have our Kelderman bracket to mount the horn blasters onto. So, somebody pulls out in front of this big truck, you need some big sound to let these guys know to get the hell out of the way. So on the back here we have our black tail section, MBRP. That's a piece you can actually buy on our website. So, if you're looking for a black tailpipe, if you're a murdered out truck, look us up. So finishing off here on the back, we ran our Alpha Series bumper. Just like the front, we ran our matte black hooks. We got our Midnight Series rigids that are, really handy when you're hooking up stuff in the dark. We've got the 3D printed piece on the dash where you can hit all the lights. Works fantastic. Got a big hitch here for that 20,000-pound boat. I got to leave here in a little while, so I'd snag that install. We'll be putting on the braces on the back here to give that factory hitch a little bit of relief, because when you're hanging down right there, if you don't have those strut braces on, you're really asking for trouble, hoping that factory hitch that's used to having something tied on here is going to work when it's tied down another 10 inches. A couple other things we did to finish this truck off: we popped off the tail lights, gave a little tint to it. Did the rear dually fender flare marker lights. We did the cab lights too. So, really gave this truck a real clean look. So, you guys out there in Southern California, man, I know there's Lamborghinis, there's Ferraris, there's all kinds of big trucks going along. But, man, you see this guy driving around, give him a big thumbs up.